So yeah, I talked about this yesterday, and let's do this. So essentially, this is kind of a bit weird because there is a couple of things I want to talk about, but weirdly enough, if you see my platform, they're not spoilers, right? Certain characters get mentioned, certain things get revealed. So, assuming that, I'm going to take the approach which I think is the most logical, which is someone who has not seen Ninjago Dragon Rising. Because this show was made before that, and so canonically it is before that. Good. Essentially means that if you have seen the content, there are some spoilers. If you haven't, and I haven't mentioned anything, which is a thing and will be a thing, like you will get non-spoilers in this section. So this is I'm not going to talk about certain things until a little bit later. And that being said, this is amazing. I love the show. I love how it builds up this like interesting idea with his new people. And obviously some characters I've seen later on. Again, not now, but in a sec. I do think it's fun. Okay. So throughout all of this, besides some details which is more family based, which I do like, I'm gonna talk about three things. Which is things that I already knew, but I kind of liked certain things that meant well, I knew two of them. One of them I didn't know, which I actually was surprised by. So one thing I was actually spot was actually what I didn't see this coming. So let's go with the two things I didn't. Zane's a robot. You kind of don't get any hints besides him being a bit like robotic, a bit sort of like a cold, not easy to get jokes. That sort of like robot like personality. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing, and I do think the idea of like learning this is really interesting. I do question a switch that represents memory. It's a bit odd. Because if you switch it, does that mean you gain the memories or is it a new personality? That sounds a bit confusing. It should have been like more than that, but again, it's Lego, so I'm fine with that. You can't probably do as much detail as you might like huge technology with buttons and switches, which is like I'm, which is one fair and two kind of a bit like the medium doesn't really need it, but I do like it. The second thing is obviously if you know what I think, I already know who the Green Ninja is. So the whole thing of being like, oh, who's it going to be? I'm just looking at like, yes, this kid, you will be the Green Ninja one day. So yeah, kind of excited. I did like the thing, which is the thing I'm going to bring up, that they do bring up Nia into the conversation, which I like the idea that Master Wu's being like, ah, so we have these four people and this one. I probably should have figured that it doesn't have to be a male. It isn't. It's not relevant. But I just like the idea that Master Wu just goes, it could be someone else. I thought of. I didn't think of that. But speaking of that, Nia is the samurai. So basically, we get the samurai. Also, I'm skipping so much up, but we get a samurai who's basically really good and really powerful, right? And he's really talented at a lot of stuff. But as a result, he has a lot of stuff connected to the sort of like tech, and we don't know who it is. And I say he because it's introduced as a sort of like male figure with a sort of like male thing, but it turns out it's a she. It's Nia. I'm probably mispronouncing that because I'm an idiot, and I love this because obviously later on I do know something about it. Um, because I feel like this is a bit of a spoiler for a couple of things probably later down the line, but she becomes the element of water. So spoilers for when that gets revealed, but I think it's old enough as like eh, I'm watching the show way too early. I already knew the water stuff, and that's not introduced at all in this season, which is bad. We don't need to bring it up right now, but it is a thing that I'm like, I'm not bringing it up at all. It is fun though, and I really like it. And those elements means that like even though I know a bit about where it goes and a bit about some of the villains, I can still get caught off guard with like small details. Like the whole thing with the samurai, I thought was really cool. It is also probably something that I just realized. Oh yeah, they probably could have introduced a new character, but then again, I probably would have remembered them. They probably would have been something, and the whole thing's tech based. If only we had one character who was really good at technology and mentioned in Dragon Rising that they're really good with technology and sometimes work with Sora. That they work with technology and Sora was the element of technology, that they were a technology person. No one's coming to mind. Don't know who. So I kind of just realized I was dumb. I should put together a bit like, oh yeah, I know from Dragon Rising that Nia's really good with tech and really good at building stuff. And Nia's a really good fighter. And I'm like, nope. No clue. Don't know who it is. You know? Idiot. Absolutely dumb. But yeah. So yeah, it is really good, and I'm excited where it goes from this to Dragon Rising. Also, I know, technically speaking, that I've seen the movie, so I do know at a certain point they get to redesign the movie, but the movie's on canon. Because apparently there's like a giant, if I remember, there's a giant cat. So I don't know how that would work in this world. But I know there's sometimes animation updates and the new redesign update. Which Nia's outfit, I think, is better than the newer one. So yeah. But yeah, Leroy and Stitch is next. Which again, I probably should learn to do this in the correct order. But don't worry about that, it's not that much of a problem. I swear I didn't do this on purpose. But yeah, I hope you enjoy and good night.